podcast listener. Set your podcast to maximum podcast. You have 15 seconds to comply. You now have 10 seconds to comply. That's right. You're listening to America's most compliant podcast, The Pod People. I'm Matisse Van Ross. I'm here to remind you that all cops are robots.
I'm Ben Sheets, and I'd buy that for $1.
That peaked like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I was about that.
Good.
Sure, listeners love that. Hi, I'm Cleveland Mosier, and Dead or Alive, you're coming with me.
Dead or alive, you're coming with Cleve.
That's right.
I'd put that on a t-shirt and buy it for $1.
For $1.
Fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Quit harassing our listeners.
That's
Stop
gonna
it.
be the
Spray bottle.
next hour of this podcast. Well, it was Cleveland's pick this week, and Cleveland picked
Motherfucking Robocop!
Robocop.
And it was awesome.
The Paul Verhoeven classic from 1987. That's the year that came out, and I had to look that up real quick. Not really a horror movie, but whatever. It's fucking Robocop. It's
gratuitous
man.
as fuck.
It's gratuitous.
It is essentially like a, well, quote, modern retelling of Frankenstein. The veneer isn't horror, but it's horror. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, just like most Paul Verhoeven movies of the late 80s and early 90s, it is, extremely gratuitous in its violence, very over the top. Yeah, this was my first full RoboCop viewing.
What'd you think?
I mean, I thought it was fucking awesome. Like, of course. Like, I don't think that doesn't even come as a surprise to me. I mean, I'm a big fan of, like, Total Recall and Starship Troopers and stuff, so RoboCop was just one that was on my wall of shame that I hadn't seen before, so I can take that one down now.
I feel like this movie is aged like a fine wine.
The finest wine, man.
Like, the satire feels, like, so prescient.
Well, like all Paul Verhoeven movies, in the current day and age, the satire barely even feels like satire anymore.
Much like how many of Jules Verne's sci-fi inventions inevitably became real, submarines, etc.
Yeah.
Like, Verhoeven's satire has just sort of become reality.
Yeah. And I mean, like, this movie still looks great. The effects are phenomenal.
So good.
Even today, like, I think this movie holds up so well. Like, if it released last year, it would be just as good as if it released when it released.
Well, lest we forget, they did do a remake of this movie several years ago.
They did.
That Cleveland has seen.
I have
the
seen
only
it.
one of us who has seen that.
More on that later.
Yeah.
We can dig into that in a bit. Let's dig into this movie. Let's get into the deets.
Dig into RoboCop.
So this one's starring Peter Weller.
Yes, it is.
Yes.
In a career-defining role, I would say.
Yes.
Sometimes I get...
Absolutely.
Real talk, sometimes I get Peter Weller and James Woods mixed up in terms of, like, facial structure. They look kind of similar.
They do look kind of similar. Yeah, they're both kind of narrow-faced white guys with prominent cheekbones and luscious lips.
Though Peter Weller kind of had the good ending.
Yes.
While... James Woods has become a bad ending.
Well, you know what? An even worse
far-right crank.
And then we have another worse ending, which is I was recently watching Panos Cosmatos' short on the Cabinet of Curiosities.
Yeah, The Viewing.
The Viewing.
Also
And
starring Peter Weller, yeah.
And in that, he looks kind of like David Carradine.
Oh, yeah, I can see that, too.
Speaking of bad endings.
Arguably the worst ending.
I think it's super dope. I did want to mention The Viewing because it's super cool that Panos Cosmatos' whole deal is that the 80s aesthetic, and that they were able to land like Peter Weller as like the main sort of character.
Yeah, well, I mean,
figure in that.
The Viewing is not 80s at all. It is like so 70s.
Well, but it is. I watched it again 2 nights ago, and it's specifically 1979. So.
Right, but in terms of its visual style and its visual language, it's like all films of the 70s.
Yeah, tomato. It's, yeah.
I mean...
You're right, but... Give it a little...
I don't think your point is wrong, but
I mean, Beyond the Black Rainbow. I also I watched Beyond the Black Rainbow for the first time recently. Did enjoy it. And then
I still need to see
again.
that one.
Yeah, it's been a Panos
yeah.
Cosmatos week. I've been going through all of his stuff.
The interesting thing, to pull it full circle, is I feel like Robocop is certainly stylish, but it doesn't scream like 80s to me. It doesn't feel
Really?
like dated specifically to the 80s in a particular way.
I disagree. I think the business culture stuff is very like 80s business cocaine stuff. It's all.
But I feel like that shit is
80s Wall
happening
Street.
even today.
Yeah.
Well,
that
yeah, I
has-
mean, thematically it's
that
happening
just
today,
hasn't
but
changed.
aesthetically, like 80s Wall Street just has like that like really particular like vibe to it.
I love the parasitic nature of the corporate
It's
people
so
in
good.
this
Yeah, all the
movie.
corpo stuff is good.
Where, like, one of the early scenes we get from them is the guy introducing the Ed 209.
yes.
And that scene is
What-
incredible.
Probably the most famous scene in the movie.
Yeah.
Like, even having never seen the movie, I've seen the introduction of Ed 209.
Yeah. And, the premise, if you haven't seen this movie, which
If
obviously...
you were like me living under a rock,
Obviously, we would all recommend you to see this.
of course.
But, like, you've probably already seen this scene, so it's not going to be a big spoiler, but the Ed 209 says, drop the weapon, you have 15 seconds to comply.
They're doing a demo. They give one of the corporate guys at the boardroom table. They're like, "Here, take this gun and point it at him in a threatening manner. We'll show you how good the robot is at de-escalating the situation."
Right, they're demoing their new product to the board. They're saying, "Hey, this is going to be the new thing that makes our company more millions of dollars. It's called Ed 209, and it's our police force robot."
Ed
and the
stands
doors,
for enforcement droid.
yeah, enforcement droid 209, and the doors open, and a giant stop motion robot comes in. It's super fucking great, and they say, "Here, intern, take this fake gun." And they hand him the fake gun, and the thing turns on him and whips out its machine guns. It's like, "You have 10 seconds to comply," and then it's just like a jaguar roar.
Well, it's not an intern, it's an executive.
Yeah, it's one of the
And
executives. yeah.
one of my favorite details of that scene is while he's getting fucking shot to smithereens, which we see in detail, and it's amazing.
Goes
all
on for
the
like 10, 15
squibs
seconds. Yeah,
and
it's so excessive.
viscera.
I love it.
It's awesome. But it cuts away to one of the execs sitting at the table, and he's like grinning and smiling at it because he's thinking, "Oh, I can fill that spot. I can become an executive now."
Yeah, Miguel Ferrar is that character. He's got kind of a business feud with like the number 2 at the company. Like he wants his position. So the Ed 209 thing is the other guy, Dick Jones. They make lots of dick jokes because he's an asshole in this one, but the Ed 209 is his thing. So when the demonstration fails so spectacularly, Miguel Ferrar is like, "Okay, I can get in on this and unveil my new Robocop initiative."
Yeah. Well, and like the whole idea that these are, private police contractors essentially feels so prescient. Again, like that's something that just is a thing, especially now, more so than when this movie came out.
Yeah, they come in and they just buy up the entire police force and equip them with like highly militarized gear, and their ultimate
Definitely would never happen in real life.
right.
Haha.
Well, their whole plan is to essentially gentrify Detroit into a sort of wealth haven by creating this like downtown district full of like skyscrapers.
Delta City,
Yeah.
And they call the existing city old. They already refer to it as Old Detroit, and it's a lost cause. It's totally crime ridden. So that's why they have these initiatives to bring in these robotic police units who never sleep, who are cold and compassionless, and can do the enforcement part of law enforcement, hence the enforcement drone 209.
It's a real shame that that idea of Detroit just becoming like a barren husk of a city isn't really relevant anymore. Yeah, real shame.
Yeah, we
Just hasn't aged well at all,
we certainly never see depictions of Detroit in horror movies anymore. Certainly no movies that we've ever talked about on the podcast.
Yeah, it's certainly not It Follows
Yeah.
or Barbarian or, you know...
Or Don't Breathe,
Don't
or
Breathe.
Don't Breathe 2.
There's so many. Yeah, holy shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
This movie
Well, I
was
mean,
like
it's
3 decades
Yeah.
ahead of the curve.
Verhoeven, like, was obviously, like, so smart to set this movie in Detroit. Like, it's the perfect setting for this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's also perfect because, like, Detroit falling or not, it's always been, like, the automotive city of industry.
Right.
Right? So,
well, yeah,
like,
I mean, it used to be one of the country's wealthiest cities, you know? So, like, its fall into what it is now, you know, is, like, really, like, one of America, quote unquote, America's greatest failings, right?
Yeah. And of course, like, when it grew because, you know, in the middle of nowhere because it was a tech thing. Like, even then, you know, with like the automotive industry, that was a tech industry. And it's the same here. It's Robotech instead. That's cool. I really like that. Yeah, everything has become corporatized. It highlights how bad, like, corporatizing the police or prisons or whatever is, with super satire in a way that doesn't feel doomery. Like, the movie never says what I just did. Like, I sound... When you talk about Robocop, you sound more like a doomer than the movie presents itself as. Like, it's so fucking hard, especially, like, in 2023, to talk about this subject matter without, like, just feeling really tired. And this movie, even for now, I think does such a phenomenal job, like, framing it as entertainment and making it, like... And not making, like, it doesn't bring me down watching this movie.
But
even
also,
though it's like,
like,
oh, this is all just real.
But also, like, even outside of the entertainment aspect of it, like, Robocop is ultimately a story of redemption, right? And and the strength of the human spirit and its ability to triumph over the cynical nature of reality and capitalism and machines.
One of the reasons this movie, and most of Verhoeven's, you know, 80s and 90s oeuvre as a whole work so well is because, you know, you can enjoy it on a base level and let all of the satire and stuff go over your head and just enjoy it.
And it's fun for what it is,
action.
yeah.
You know, I was talking to a coworker of mine, and he said he hadn't seen RoboCop since he was a kid, and he loved it as a kid. But he said that all the satire and messaging went over his head, but he loved it when he was a kid too. And like, it makes total sense, you know. Like, the action scenes are so great, and like, just work so well on its own.
It might be my, like, favorite. I think it is my favorite example of a film working on both levels seamlessly. And, you know, like, the intellectual side of it, which isn't that deep, sure, but still, like, there is the commentary, there is still stuff there, in no way interferes with the action hardcore viewing. Like, there's no, like, you can have your cake and eat it too. There's no reason for you to, like, you can be academic about stuff, you can get into that, and also just make a good, entertaining film. And a lot of films, like, modern,
I mean, I would argue
not,
that those are the
that.
best, are consistently the best movies.
Yeah,
Movies
there was
both.
an interview with Harmony Korine where he was talking about infiltrating the mainstream, is what he called it. Where, like, no matter what the audience is, you meet them at their level.
Yes.
To find enjoyment. So you can find enjoyment of something like Spring Breakers on a basic level, or you could look at it more intellectually or academically and get more out of it that way too.
Same with Goosebumps. I rewatched
either
that
way is perfectly valid. And I think that's why Robocop and Verhoeven's movies work so well, is because they bridge both audiences. You know, we talk a lot on this podcast about a smart person making a dumb movie.
Yes.
And this is, like, a great example of it, because, like, on its base, like, the idea of cyborg cop is a dumb idea.
Robocop.
But it's done very intelligently, to the point where there's a lot to think about and a lot to really kind of dig into there.
And I mean, I still think even in this movie, like, the character of Robocop is goofy as fuck.
Oh,
Intentionally so.
Yeah,
Yes.
he is goofy.
There's an element of camp to almost all of Verhoeven's
the way he
movies.
moves, the way he talks, the way he looks.
Let's talk about
like
the suit.
it's cartoonish, but it's done so well.
It's done so well, and it's done like the cartoon aspects are clearly done with intent, right? Like when they make RoboCop in the film, they make him as these kind of crazy executives who want to sell this next product. He looks like a toy action figure.
Yes.
Because this is the 80s. This is like the height of like action figures.
Transformers
Right?
mania.
Hasbro. Like they are like get your Optimus Primes, get your Legos, get your fucking, all of it. Like this is your Gundams. Like this is the era of peak action figures. And he looks like one.
He's a life-size action
and
figure.
And he moves like one. But you know what's cool about RoboCop? I was noticing this, and another thing that's aged, I think, really well, is before watching RoboCop, I was watching videos of, the Boston Dynamics compilations they put out.
Yes.
Like, I was watching, like, a more recent one, and I was thinking about it, and the way that the robots, like, their current ones that are, like, bipedal, run and, like, do backflips and stuff now.
Yeah.
Looks exactly like how Peter Weller moves in this movie.
Kind of,
like,
yeah.
Like, it is stiff, but there is, like, it does still almost feel like there's a human piloting it. Because they're starting to adapt, like, human motions to some degree.
Yeah.
And it's, like, and Peter Weller's, like, movement in this, it feels like a robot-human hybrid. Like, there is a little bit of, like, ease at times. And, he isn't just doing like the robot, while he moves. It's just right, I think. And Peter Weller's like mouth performance, can get plenty of praise or whatever. But his like figure work, his body acting is really good in this movie.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, the physicality is perfect. Like, he does feel more machine than man, and to just be a person in a big rubber suit, because that's what it is. It's effective. It's believable. I do want to, while you're talking about the Boston Dynamics robots, because I was thinking, I mean, it's impossible to watch this movie now and not think about those, because like, especially like the Ed 209 scene is like, that is, I think, just as prescient as the rest of the film is, but something that just hasn't happened yet. The second you fucking strap a gun on one of those fucking Boston Dynamics robots and put a real person in front of him, that is going to happen.
Yeah, well, and much like the Boston Dynamics stuff, with Ed 209, it finds its fate when you put it in reality. In this case, a staircase.
Yeah, really jumping ahead, but one of my favorite aspects of the film is that Ed 209 is ultimately defeated by stairs because it can't walk downstairs.
But like, you watch those Boston Dynamic
so
things,
funny.
and like, it's always just a very clinical setting.
Yeah.
They don't like
very, very controlled environments.
Yeah.
That being said, like, you do see a lot of the videos of them like competing in obstacle courses and shit.
No, they can do
it's
stairs
like
now.
I know those
You think
motherfuckers
so?
can do. I know those motherfuckers can do stairs now, but there is
They
that
can do like
there is that
backflips and like they can do like weird obstacle courses and shit now.
There is that same aspect to it though, where like, especially when like those robots really like first started being manufactured like a few years ago, when the technology was more crude, all the videos you just see of people just like kicking them over and shit like that,
the broom handle
and the Ed 209 tumbling down the stairs and landing on its back like a turtle and flailing around and squealing like a pig like it has that same energy of somebody just like kicking over one of those hapless Boston Dynamics dogs.
One of the things I love about 209 is like how upfront they are about the sound effects. Like it doesn't squeal like a pig, it's pig squeals. Like when it falls down the stairs, like there's like servo sounds beneath it also, but it's just
Well, yeah, of course it's pig squeals. It's a cop.
All cops are Ed, and
all cops are robots.
a carb. It's great. I love Ed 209. I love stop motion. I think that scene.
The stop motion is so good.
It's so
in
good.
this
And the
movie. It holds up
compositing.
so, and especially that's the biggest part.
There's like 3 layers.
The compositing,
like there's people
yeah.
moving behind it and in front of it, like in certain scenes, and it's to this day seamless. We were watching like an HD like version of it too that we were streaming. And like so like the picture was really clear. Like clearer than it was ever designed to be viewed, and even still like fucking seamless.
I mean, played on a movie.
Well, speaking
theater
of,
screen,
we
like,
did one thing is
like on
normally
film.
we go out of our way to get the movie on we get the movie in some format to like watch all the way through, but this time like our normal viewing means failed
sure
us,
did.
so we had to watch the movie on, was it Tubi?
No, we watched it on Amazon, but it's like
Freevee.
Yeah, Freevee, whatever
Okay,
the
so
fuck
Amazon
that
with
is.
ads. And so
This is
we
like
did have to watch this movie with ads.
It's like the only movie where I feel like the ads added to the
I think
experience.
it's the first time we've done this on the podcast here where we have, like, in our 4 or 5 like years without missing an episode or whatever. Like, this is, I think, the only time we've watched a movie with ads, and I gotta say, perfect pick for it. Like, this whole movie is about the throes of capitalism.
Well,
like,
and this
occasionally
movie
getting
has
bombarded with a
ads
farm
in it.
It has
Yeah.
ads in it. Like, occasionally getting bombarded by like a modern pharmaceutical ad kind of enhanced the experience.
Well, yeah, because
a little bit.
pretty much every time it went to an ad break, the first ad was for some pharmaceutical shit. Yeah,
Crohn's
for
disease or some
yeah,
shit.
and it's like the timing at which they place the ads, like. Almost every time it cut to commercial, we laughed out loud.
Yeah, it was
because
funny every time.
because it does. It's like in a movie like RoboCop, just like the cut to an ad that is of course louder than the movie is. So just all of a sudden being screamed at about Crohn's disease.
Most
is
of them
just like
honest to God, most of the ads were about an ass cancer medication.
yeah.
I'm serious. It was about like anal cancer and shit. I was just like, holy shit. We're in the middle of like watching RoboCop, and we're just getting like bombarded with ass cancer ads. It couldn't have been like more poignant. It was great.
Yeah.
Well, we should talk about the commercials. A big element of this movie is TV, television, whether it's commercials or in-world TV programs.
They
whether
use-
it's news.
they
or
use news-
sitcoms.
They use news broadcasts as kind of like a Greek chorus in the movie to like set the stage for
Oh, yeah, well
like
said.
different. I mean, I think
potentially
there's
you're right.
I think there is there. We
Or
get like
academic.
we get like three. I think 3 news broadcasts that are like bookended by ads, and it's to set up the first, second, and third act of the movie.
Yeah.
Each time.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, man. Paul Verhoeven loves starting his movies with an ad.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, I mean,
Starship. I know I'm doing my part.
He's so good at it.
He's so good. He's
the
the
ads,
best
the
at it.
ads are great.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Doesn't Total Recall start with an ad for like the Memory Corporation too?
I don't remember how it starts. Probably. It's been a long time since I've seen
Like it
Total
does start
Recall.
with an ad also.
It's in there.
Yeah, I mean I know that there's one, but he loves them and he's so good at them.
Yeah.
Yeah, the ads in this movie are so funny. Like, there's one about, like, a family board game where it's about, like, nuclear escalation.
It's called like Nukem or something
Yeah,
like that.
I think it is Nukem. It's essentially Battleship but with nukes.
Yeah.
And like the kid says something about like the crisis in Afghanistan.
Pakistan is threatening my border or something like that.
Yeah.
Says the 9-year-old like to his mom as he moves a battleship piece. That shit again. Fine fucking wine.
That's
Like,
so funny.
The forever war continues. Like, thank you, beautiful.
We're recording this like the same week we just they just used like a $400 billion jet to shoot down a fucking balloon.
Yeah. Oh man.
The fucking Chinese spy balloon.
Oh yeah. Good night table.
Yeah,
Good night moon. Good night Chinese spy balloon.
there it is. But Pakistan's threatening my borders.
Oh shit, Timmy.
Time to launch the nukes. And there's another ad where it's just like for like an artificial heart, like a mechanical heart, and they're talking about at the end it's like, yeah, you can get this, you can lease it with
All the financing
all the
options.
financing options with
So dark.
with warranty, such and such. It's like, that's not even sound satire.
That's real now.
Yeah.
You can just get like a fully artificial heart now, and it's gonna put you into debt for the rest of your life, but you need it to, like, it's just not even a joke.
Yeah.
I love the car commercial where it's like a dinosaur Godzilla type of monster roaming the streets, and then it like turns into a car, and it's like the 6000 SUX.
Yeah, that's what it is, a 6000 SUX.
Yeah, the Toyota, whatever. No, that one's great because like the dinosaur is like a cheap stop motion one, and it's clearly like what's his name? Phil Tippett. You know, just them having like a little like my joke canon is like that they had just a little bit of, like, of stop motion budget left over, or he wanted to do like a cheap tribute to the old Ray Harryhausen dinosaurs.
Yeah.
It's really cute. I really like that one. Yeah, with the dinosaur roaming.
I like that one a lot too. Well, and also the 6000 SUX is the car that the one of the villains drives, that Kurtwood Smith drives.
Two of the villains for a brief moment.
Well, for a moment.
More on that later.
Man, Kurtwood Smith.
Yeah.
So good in this.
Amazing.
I hesitate to say he steals the show because everybody is so good in this. I feel like everybody steals the show.
I feel like he
Bitches
kind of does steal the show because like
bitches leave.
Bitches leave.
The biggest
I love that delivery.
The biggest gang leader in Detroit is just like a balding middle-aged.
Is fucking
Smith.
Kurtwood Smith and his like 6 henchmen. It's so funny. They do like they set him up as like he is like the king of the Detroit underworld. They're like he runs Detroit.
He's just
basically.
like a bald guy in glasses,
and he's just like it's fucking Red Foreman.
Yeah, from that '70s show. Like,
it's fucking Red Foreman. And like 6 of his henchmen, and he's like always doing the jobs like personally. You know, they're hanging out in like a fucking warehouse. It's like, this is the king of Detroit, baby.
Yeah.
I love
great
it.
because
He's
like
great.
even though like he's just a dude, like just kind of like a white middle-aged guy.
Well, it's perfect.
Like,
well, yeah, because in
he still says all the gangster shit.
Also because in real life, like, criminal kingpins are just some dude.
I know,
you know?
it's so
like,
good. Like, and yeah, his delivery is it's just perfect.
He's great.
Yeah,
It's so funny, like, all of these years later. It's funny, and also like I feel like kind of sad that just like the #1 association with Kurtwood Smith is Red Foreman. It's like
he's been in so many great things.
I think I don't have a problem with that '70s show. I watched lots of it when I was younger. I think it's fine. I think he's good on it. But it's like, man, it's like that's who, when people see him, it's like, oh, it's Red, not it's Clarence Boddicker from Robocop.
He should be known for this.
I agree.
During the movie, you told us an amazing story about the bitches leave scene. Can you retell that for our audience?
Yes,
it's incredible.
I will. There's a video online. You can look it up. It's from like the behind the scenes of RoboCop, and one of Kurtwood Smith's best moments is when Miguel Ferrer is like having like a cocaine party with these 2 women at his house, like celebrating his victory over Dick Jones or whatever.
His RoboCop project has gone off perfectly without a
right.
hitch.
Everything's going great. So he's got these 2 women over and they're doing a bunch of coke. Kurtwood Smith comes in and his first line is just "bitches leave." It's a great line. And there's a video from behind the scenes where Kurtwood Smith is talking about filming this scene, and he does a great Paul Verhoeven impression, but Verhoeven's Dutch, so he's not a native English speaker. So apparently he did not realize that, like, in English, like, bitch is like a really derogatory like thing to call somebody normally. So the day that they were filming that on set, he was addressing the 2 actresses as bitches the whole time because he just
Paul is Dutch and Joost Vacano, the cinematographer, is German. And
I don't believe that Paul knew during that evening that bitches was a pejorative term for females.
we were getting ready to do the scene, and so we were kind of blocking it out, and Paul says, Kurtwood says, bitches leave, then the bitches leave, and bitches, then you leave when he says that. And Then he says, no, wait, bitches, don't leave, wait. Jost, what do you think? Should bitches leave when he says bitches leave, or should they wait for him to make a motion? Jost goes, the bitches should leave. Yeah, bitches. Bitches, you leave. Miguel and I are just sitting there cracking up. And the bitches, they didn't seem to have a problem with it at all. You know, they were like, okay, fine, sure.
Very good. Thank you, bitches. Very good. That's a wrap on the bitches. Thank you very much, bitches.
How you doing? Bitches leave.
Gee, Bobby. Bye.
It's great.
Incredible.
Oh man.
Man, and to think he went on to do Showgirls.
Yeah.
How about it?
And most recently, Benedetta, which I haven't seen, but I've heard is good.
I have yet to see it as well, but
Lesbian nun sex.
Verhoeven, he don't miss.
Yeah. Verhoeven don't miss.
The talking about the ads. So something I do a lot in my free time is movie nights in the Dread Discord. I've mentioned it lots of times in the past, and we get folks from all over the world. And whenever we watch something on Tubi or Freevee or one of these like with ads programs, the Europeans are always floored by the pharmaceutical ads. And it was a real paradigm shift for me when the first time that happened. Because it was like I was watching it with like my buddy, I think it was like Victor. He's a really talented musician. He's German. And like some ass cancer ad comes on or whatever. Says, "What is this?" Like he was like, "What's going on? Like what is this program?" And then like I had to explain like pharmaceutical ads like to them, and it was just like this is something we grew up with. Like it's so regular for us
outside of the U.S.
Yeah, and over there like it's illegal. Like you can't show pharmaceutical ads because of, like,
it should be illegal here.
Yeah. So I just wanted to mention that. It's just more dystopian shit, and
well, and I think that is something that is, I think, unique about Verhoeven is that because he's not an American, I think he has a very like keen eye into a kino eye into what makes America so uniquely dystopian, and is able to portray that in such a true but also like absurdist kind of way. Because I think he does that so well in all of his movies.
That's what's so great about Robocop and Total Recall to an extent is like he takes that stuff and reflects it back to us in the style that we understand, which is like American action movies.
He speaks to us in our language.
He truly does. He speaks to us
and gore.
It's like he shows us a uniquely outsider perspective of America in a language that we understand intuitively.
Yeah. And in a way,
violence.
Which is violence, exactly. Which is sex and violence.
And in a way that isn't tired.
Yeah.
You know, which is so nice, because I don't know, man, online there's like such a culture now where it's just like America sucks. I get it. Like, there's a lot of problems. There's a lot of things that, like, aren't a problem in Canada and, like, in Europe and everywhere else. But it's like, Canadians and Europeans, can you guys just, like...
But also, like, Canada and Europe also have lots of their own problems. There are lots of...
Well, that's the thing, right? But it's just like,
at least Joe Biden never did blackface.
Yeah, right, exactly.
Unlike Mr. Justin Trudeau.
Wow, did I just find a talking point to get Ben to bat for Joe Biden? Holy shit.
That
says something.
I'm putting my America hat on.
Yeah, man.
At least we don't have
hey, man, at least
Dolittle as our president.
At least we're not fucking England.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. This is a direction we've never gone down on the podcast, but Verhoeven brings it out of us.
Yeah, brings it out. But no, but all that to say, like,
he's right though.
Yeah, he's right
about all of that.
They're all right. That's the thing. Like, but I'm just fucking tired of hearing it because I don't have any agency over it. You know?
Yeah.
So like, whenever I hear like, ha ha ha, healthcare joke, it's like, yeah, I fucking know. Well, I'm tired of hearing the joke.
It's one of those things where I truly
like Doomer shit. I'm just over it.
I've truly gotten to the point where I'm like, where I feel like if you live here, you're allowed to talk about it. If you live somewhere else, shut the fuck up.
Yeah,
don't
because,
be an asshole.
It's just
don't be an asshole.
Us.
Yeah,
And-
it's like we're the ones who are living with it on a day-to-day fucking basis. Like, we know how fucking bad it is.
And have
we can
no
talk about how
agency.
fucking bad it is. We know you have it good.
Vote, man.
We know you have it good in lots of ways, but also you have a lot of Nazis.
Yeah.
So, like
Nazis all around though, but like yeah.
Nazis are everywhere, but like you can't be from like Finland and fucking talking about Nazis in the US. Like, check your own fucking Nazi problem.
Yeah.
Or fucking Ukraine,
Man,
like
Finnish people, where the national pastime is suicide.
Oh shit! Okay, shots fired.
all right, yeah, we're
All right, well that's I think that is the inevitable end of that conversation.
we gotta steer this back.
Yeah, steer the ship quick.
Satire.
Okay, so
satire.
for all our talk about RoboCop, we haven't really talked about RoboCop. So let's just
Yeah, 'cause
dig
I
into
feel
the
like-
plot.
I feel like everybody knows RoboCop, but yes.
But everyone does. But I want to get into like the journey of it.
Sure.
I want to get into his archetypical wheel, his Frankenstein story.
He's Christ.
He is Christ.
That's it.
He
It is a not subtle Christ allegory.
Robo Christ. I'd buy that for $1.
That you've already bought it. We watched it for free with ads. RoboCop is Robo Christ. He literally walks on water at the end. The imagery is not subtle.
So we begin with Peter Weller's character. Well, we don't begin there. We begin by setting the tone, setting the world that we have well established on this podcast at this point.
With Peter Weller established.
Yes. The breaking news, the big report is that several police officers have died in another shootout with the horrible Detroit gangs or whatever. All right, cool. Cut to the police precinct. Peter Weller has come in. He's a cop from the burbs or somewhere, another city, out of town.
Yeah.
A nicer place. And he's been brought in.
The suburbs.
Yeah, he's a replacement for the current dead cops. And he's teamed up with
Nancy Allen.
Nancy Allen, and they head about on their first beat, their first outing, whatever the police term is for it.
Yeah, they're outing. They're going on a nice outing. Yeah, that's what it is.
And they suit up and they head out, and they have an encounter with the Detroit gang, of course. Consisting of Red and the gang.
Yes.
Speaking of, you touched on the fact that he has about 5 or so henchmen.
Yeah.
But you didn't mention that one of his henchmen is a pod favorite.
Oh yeah, Ray Wise.
Ray Wise.
Yeah.
Ray Wise is one of the henchmen, and Ray Wise in his fucking prime. My dude is killing it.
Yeah.
Like, he looks cool in this movie.
Honestly, I feel like he doesn't have as big of a part in this movie as I would like him to, as like some of the other henchmen.
Any part with Ray Wise.
Yeah.
Like, I could always more
but
Ray
it's
Wise.
nice.
He's a king.
We've got 2 Twin Peaks people who went on to be in Twin Peaks in this movie: Ray Wise and Miguel Ferrer.
Yeah.
I love kind of the introduction to the gang where they're driving a getaway truck from like a bank
From a
heist,
bank robbery,
and
yeah.
like half of the money has been burnt because it was like blown up while they tried to blow up the vault or whatever. And they get into the shootout with Nancy Allen and Peter Weller. At one point, Peter Weller shoots one of the henchmen.
Like, let's set the tone a little bit though. Like, they're coming up behind them and they're like, "Oh shit, I think that's them." They put out the APB, and Peter Weller says, "You drive, I'll shoot," and or something like that. And he takes 2 pistols. So she hands him her pistol, and he leans out the side of the window with both pistols. Just fuck regulation. They're gonna take these fuckers down.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, in the van, all the guys are getting ready. They've got AKs, they've got shotguns, they've got it all. And there's the big doors on the back of the van, and they're just ready. They're gonna kick it open, and they're gonna fucking blow them all away. They're gonna just unload lead. Like, all 5 of the guys with guns in the van are going to shoot at this one dinky little cop car, which, side note, is a dinky little cop car. The cop cars in this movie are just like old cars.
It's literally a Ford Taurus.
Yeah, it's a fucking Ford Taurus,
Spray
it's been
painted
spray
black.
painted with matte spray paint, and I love that. I love that, like, the police precinct is like, it's so cheap. It's Detroit. The city is crumbling. Its infrastructure is falling apart. But these big tech guys are coming in with their toys,
Right.
and they're playing, but they don't really care. There's no like sense of infrastructure there, so it works.
No, they're selling a
amazingly.
product, as they literally say many times.
Yes, and so like it's so cool that like they're like building these giant like police robots that are like fucking mechs, and meanwhile the actual police are just like using whatever cars they can
Are
find
driving
and spray
around
paint
in
black.
Ford Taurus,
Like,
spray
it's
painted black.
Like yeah, the wealth gap is just so apparent in the
Yeah.
background of this movie, and I love it. And so anyway, they're just about to blow open the doors, and then they do. They knock them open, and they're all ready to shoot, and there's no car. Wait, where'd the car go? Oh, they're coming up on the side. And then Peter Weller comes up around and he's like shooting at him from the car. It's fucking great,
Yeah.
as you were saying.
Yeah, well, in the process of the shootout, he shoots one of the henchmen. Clarence Boddicker, looks at him and he's like, "Man, I hope you can fly." And he takes him and he throws him onto the police car.
Great.
And it's like such a great introduction to this villainous gang
Yeah.
who like treat their own as just like disposable bodies.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you got shot? All right, we're going to throw you onto the hood of the cop car.
It's like the dystopian equivalent of like, oh shit, we need to lose weight in our hot air balloon. So,
Yeah.
So like, yeah, they need a diversion. They need something heavy they can throw at the car to make it crash. So they just throw one of their injured guys at it. I love
Yeah.
that. Again, it's that it works so well with the theme. Like the evil people don't care about human life. They don't care about the bodies. And yeah, so they just throw this fucking guy out of the car, and it makes the car spin out and crash. And it looks like they're going to get away, but sure enough, they keep on their trail.
Yeah, they end up in one of several abandoned steel factories in this movie, where eventually, Peter Weller and Nancy Allen get separated. Peter Weller gets captured by the gang, and they...
Nancy Allen gets like kicked off of a balcony, which
That's right,
puts her
yeah.
out of commission
By-
for a little bit.
Right.
By maybe my second to Ray Wise, my favorite henchman, the laughing guy.
Oh, God, yeah. He's got this...
He's like a cool henchman, and he's like he's got like he's got like a pork pie, not a pork pie, the fucking, what is it? It's
like a beret.
Like a beret. He's got the beret, and he's taking a piss just in like a random corner of the factory. And she comes up behind him, and she's like, fucking freeze or whatever. And he turns around, and he's like, yeah, can I put my, what did they say? It's like, can I put my dick away first or something
Yeah,
like
something
that?
like that.
Because he comes around with his dick out. We don't see it, but which is a surprising amount of restraint for Verhoeven. And he puts his dick away, but he kicks her off the side. And she goes
Well,
flying.
yeah, she gets distracted because she looks down at his
does
dick, and that
succumb
gives him the opening to
I forgot, that is
to
why, yeah.
knock the gun out of her hand and throw her over the railing.
Very cute little reverse sexism there. Yeah, she can't help herself. She looks down at his dick, and he uses that opportunity to kick her off the railing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And she falls on some boxes, and then he lets out this like laugh that's really weird. Like he lets out this like weird cackle.
It's almost like a trash humper's laugh.
It is.
Yeah, kind of.
He is making it, not faking it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Weird
for sure.
cackle.
And that's just the first of many, many, many times in the movie that he does
He does
that.
his weird hyena laugh, and I love it.
Yeah,
it's
it's
goofy.
fun.
It's fun. I'm paying attention to the movie. We're having a good time.
It's fun.
Cut to
But
Peter Weller.
He gets captured by all of them, and they toy with him a little bit before killing him, and in just like the most gratuitous way, Kurtwood Smith shoots his hand off with a shotgun.
Well, but like the way he does it is so good. He's got the shotgun, and he goes like, meh, 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 and he's like going up and down him, like, ooh,
Yeah.
where is it gonna land? What am I gonna shoot? And then he goes, meh, 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 like over to the left, he just blows his hand off with a shotgun.
Yeah.
Like right when you think he might not actually shoot him, he might hold him hostage or something. Boom. awesome gratuity, beautiful effects. His hand
Yeah.
just gets blown to smithereens.
And then they just all fucking unload into him with their shotguns, just over and over and over again. Much like the Ed 209 scene, very drawn out, very gratuitous, lots of squibs. He's somehow still not dead at the end of that. And Kurtwood Smith comes up and executes him with a shot to the head. But psych, he's not actually dead, not quite. He's still alive enough for him to be taken to Omnicorp and turned into Robocop.
I love the scene of them working on Robocop
perfect.
and putting him together.
Yeah, over
It's
like the
perfect.
sort of like long period, it's like all from his perspective. And it's got like the computer grid.
We
over
see
the-
like like the first like beep, beep of it like coming on and him like seeing some stuff, and they're like they have the pen in front of him, they're testing out his vision, and then like we see them like screw in like the laser grid component piece, and like the UI like slowly like comes into place on his heads up display, and it keeps like coming in and out of consciousness.
Well, it's great too because we get a scene where, you know, he is on the operating table essentially, and some of the corporate executives are there, and they're talking about how they shouldn't save his arm because you know, they want to emphasize that he's robotic.
Oh yeah, they're
Yeah, they're talking about like branding, like whether or not he keeps his arm or not is just up to, like,
they're
their
like
brand
they're like yeah,
image.
we were able to still
Yeah.
save the left arm, and Miguel Ferrer is like, no, lose the arm. Like he's gonna be better if both of his arms are robotic.
Yeah.
It's just like, yeah, get rid of the fucking arm. It's like, well, yeah, at that point he's no longer a person, he's product. So they're trying to maximize the profit. They're trying to maximize and get out of him.
And
It's like,
I think
what? He
their
doesn't need to keep the
justification
arm.
is he's not going to be a person anymore. We're going to wipe his memories.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, and that's ultimately, you know, in the end, all of their undoing, because they're not, try as they might, they're not able to completely eradicate the spark of humanity from him. And,
Well,
you know, that's...
they are specifically undone by the power of dreams.
Yeah,
Like,
and well, memory.
and
Yeah.
yeah. Well, and yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, because when we dream, or we sort of unravel our memories
Yeah.
or whatever. I'm not a fucking neuroscientist, but like the idea, it's like poetically, like if you take a step back from like the literal interpretation of that, it is like they're undone by like the will to dream or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, like something that is like truly human. You know?
Right. Well, yeah, that's
And-
what it is. It's the piece of humanity that they can't erase.
His dreams.
That still is there, that awakens him, and like that is his resurrection. His resurrection is not being brought back to life as RoboCop. The dying and being reborn is when he reawakens as a human.
Well, yeah, I feel like that's what's kind of interesting in this movie, because, like, while his family is shown in dreams, and he has that sequence where he goes back to his old house to see it's being sold off, essentially, you know, his family is really not present in the movie.
No,
I think, you
we
know,
only see them through the dreams.
the real
Yeah.
core that kind of brings his humanity out is his connection with Nancy Allen.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of love that.
It's really good.
I
Yeah.
think, you know, it avoids kind of hokey sentimentality
Yeah.
by doing that, while still getting to the core of like what he's trying to go at there.
100%. On the subject of hokey sentimentality, I feel like Verhoeven does like sort of poke at that a little bit with like the memory or the dream of like his wife, because like we see it a few times, we get like flashes of it like as he's being turned into RoboCop. It's like we always see it from his perspective, like he walks into the bedroom and she like gets up off the bed and she's like, you know what, I've got to tell you something. or something like that. Like she sounds angry, and that's like always where the memory stops. It's like, oh, he had, you know, a turbulent relationship with his wife or whatever. But then later, when he goes back to the house and we see like the full memories revealed, that whole sequence is like, she's like, I have something that I have to say to you. I love you so much.
She was fucking with him. She was having fun with him. I really like that.
It's
almost
so
poses
fucking
a
corny.
question in
I love
itself is like how much of his memories are
Real.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just read that as like, you know, she was playing a game with him. You know, like she was doing a bit, like she was in on the joke, where she was like, you know, like being like, oh yeah, I'm gonna make him think I'm about to nag him, and like no.
Yeah,
I love him, and I thought that was sweet, like earnestly sweet. But I don't know, I'm a big corn dog, so who knows?
I think it's hokey, but I do like Ben's point that like you're right. Yeah, the family, like he doesn't like reconnect with his family or anything. They're gone. You know, after he died, they sold the house and moved.
Yeah.
You know, so it's like it is that Nancy Allen like stops him in the hallway and is like, hey, like Murphy, is that you? Like, are you in there? Well, like she talks to him like a human, not just as Robocop, and she's like the only one who does that, and like that is what sort of like awakens that spark. That being said, my favorite line in the movie happens at the end of that scene where like he has this kind of moment where like he's sort of like disoriented and confused, and the scene ends with him being like, I have to go somewhere, a crime is being committed. And that's how I want to leave every room for the rest of my existence, is I've got to go somewhere a crime is being committed.
I have to go somewhere a crime is being... Yeah, like it's like, oh nope, I'm a man, gotta detach.
Yeah, it's like yeah, she's trying to like she's like trying to see if there's still that bit of humanity left to like connect with him. He's like, I must go somewhere a crime is being committed.
Well, like, it's like the whole trope of like, I am a robot, I don't know how to feel, is like so old and tired, and I love that, especially since this was your first viewing, right? Mm-hmm. Like that you're so familiar with that trope. It's been told a million times, but like the way Verhoeven does it in this movie is so unique and so well done. My favorite example is when Robocop is first out on patrol. He's driving around the city in his shitty car. It's
so funny to see him in the fucking Ford Taurus. It's so funny.
The commentary is so good. And he's driving around the city in his shitty car. This big action figure guy, a dude is robbing like a small liquor store, general store, and Robocop comes in. The guy's just like, oh fuck no, and he just starts unloading on Robocop. It does nothing. Robocop blows him to bits. You know, and he's like, all right, I did my shit.
With his cartoonishly large gun.
Yes. He has like a giant pistol that has like rapid fire. Like it does like burst fire.
Yeah, burst fire.
Semi-auto. Yeah.
The way I perceive the burst fire is the gun itself does not have burst fire. He just shoots it really fast.
Oh, you think he shoots it that fast?
He's a robot.
I like the robot fingers.
Funny.
That's fun. I like that. And so he leaves that, and there might be some other things. It's like a whole montage that fucking rules. But there's a woman, and she's like out underneath this like big billboard that once again is some sort of capitalistic commentary.
Yeah.
And these two guys are, like, they cut some of her hair, and they're like, haha, we got hair or whatever, but you know where else there's hair? Down there! And they take the knife, and it looks like they're about to, like, you know, do some really heinous shit. And Robocop pulls up to save the day, and he's like, and he shoots one of the guys, and the other guy, like, holds the lady hostage. And it's like, oh my god, how's he gonna shoot her? And then his targeting reticle comes up, and he fires, like, right under her skirt. And shoots the guy in the dick.
Yeah.
Like, so he shoots the guy's dick off, which is awesome. Yes! Like, everything you could want, right, out of a movie like this. And he shoots the guy's dick off, and the lady's, like, terrified, and she runs up to Robocop, and she gives him a big hug, and she says, thank you! And it's that hero moment where, like, you know, he, like, any other, like, your John Wayne or your fucking cowboy would, like, embrace him and be like, it's okay, I got you, darling, or whatever. And he just says, you are safe now. I am calling a rape center.
Yeah, a rape crisis center.
I'm dialing the nearest rape crisis center, and it's like, holy shit. That is so robotic. Like, that is the most...
It's almost as if he was some sort of robotic cop.
Yeah, I know, but like, it is just so perfectly distilled.
Yeah, it's funny.
Like, and what a perfect commentary on how like police have to play the role of like societal therapists that they are in no way qualified to play. Right? Like, how often do you hear about stories of, like, police having to arrive on scenes where, like, they're domestic situations where, like, they're not really equipped to deal with.
Oh, well, and how they
treat it like
how they
cowboys,
deal
when they
with,
need to be
like,
treating it like therapists.
how do they deal with, like,
social workers.
mentally ill, like,
Exactly.
homeless people and stuff who, like, they've proven it every time they've tried it in situations where it's like they call social workers instead of cops. Those situations always end better. The cops just like, I don't know how to respond to this. Shoot him.
Yeah.
Just fucking
And so,
end up
like,
ventilating some poor mentally ill man who's living on the street. You
He's
know?
just a big dumb toy. He doesn't know how to, like, and at this point, like, it's all robot, right? Like, his brain hasn't had the chance to emerge yet. His humanity hasn't had a chance to be restored.
Honestly,
So,
the
like,
most unbelievable thing about this movie in the modern age is that one of his prime directives is protect the innocent.
Well,
That was like one thing I was like, that doesn't make a lot of sense.
it's
what
kind of
works so well
put on
though,
its head.
It is in all the right ways. I agree. Like, is that he has it's sort of like a little nudge wink at like Asimov's like laws of robotics.
Right.
That because you know, in iRobot, like, it's a series of short stories about like how the laws of robotics could be unraveled. And here they do something very similar where he has like 3 protocols. At the beginning they pop up and it's like 1, protect the innocent, 2, uphold the law, 3, something, and then 4, unknown.
Yeah.
And so like he has like some secret protocol that's been installed that like that we don't know about as the viewer at this time. And I think that's really cool. There's like some sort of shadow narrative there, and he's set up publicly as this paragon of virtue, like with these laws. These laws seem perfect, they seem flawless, but there's an underlying goal there. There's a different narrative that's being spun, and it's fucking cool. It's great, and it plays in. It's a wonderful little like twist. At the end, I was doing air quotes on twist. It's heavy-handed as fuck, but
yeah, well, it's like we know that's something that OmniCorp has put in there because they built him, and what is it? Yeah, what does it turn out to be? That he is not able to act against any member of the board of OmniCorp or something like that, and if he tries, he'll like shut down.
Yeah.
So the fourth rule is like don't fuck with OmniCorp.
Yeah, you can't fuck with us. Yeah.
So that they can just use him as their toy weapon.
Yeah.
And I love the and even though like you can see it coming from a mile away, I love the progression there of him. Like it seems like his humanity is gone. We've explored that for a really nice amount of time. We've gotten to enjoy him just being robot cop, and then he dreams, and in that there's a big malfunction, and he gets up when he's not supposed to, and he starts walking out of the center, and everyone's like, "Whoa, stop Robocop!" But we can't stop Robocop because he's the strongest thing in here. Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And he's dreaming. Oh my god, we didn't account for dreams. I love that. And he goes to his home, as we mentioned. We don't see his family. We just see the shell of their home that was there. And his son, watching that Johnny Laser show where the guy spins his gun.
Yeah.
Which is, up before that point, the only sign that we have that he's still in some way, he might be holding on to his humanity.
Talk about a great example of visual storytelling.
Yes.
Right there.
Yes, is when he's still Peter Weller, the human. He spins his gun, and his partner is like, why are you
fancy
doing that?
gun work?
Yeah,
or
fancy
something like
gun
that.
work, and
It's
he's like, oh, my son watches Johnny Laser or whatever, and he thinks that's cool, so I gotta be cool for my son, which is super endearing. Like, that's really nice. And then when he's RoboCop,
well, I think it's also sort of indicative how a lot of cops think of themselves as cowboys.
Of course, like I was saying earlier, absolutely. And and then as RoboCop, he spins the gun right before he does the cool like robot transforming hip holster thing.
Yeah.
And so like that's our little sign that there might be some Peter Weller still in there.
There's something of him left in there, yeah.
And so then he dreams. Sure enough, there is. He goes on a rogue journey to find his home. They're gone. He's remembering things. We get the latter part of the memory with his wife. Oh, I love you. And then he also remembers, oh, hey, these are the guys who killed me. I gotta hunt those fuckers down.
Yep.
We cut to...
Goes on his quest of vengeance.
We cut to the baddies in their factory. There's a cute scene there.
It's a literal cocaine factory.
It's the 80s,
Yeah,
baby.
I love it.
And Robocop busts in, fucking takes them all out.
It's a great fucking scene.
It's so good.
They
I
shoot
love-
out in the cocaine factory.
I love when he's throwing the baddie around, and like he throws him through one window, and he's like, "Who sent you?" or whatever, like, "Who are you work for?" And the guy's like, "I don't know, man." And he throws him through another window.
Yeah,
and he's like, "Oh,
he
right,
throws
man, I'll-"
he throws Kurtwood Smith through like 4 windows.
He's like, "All right, I think I might tell you." He throws him through another window. "All right, man, I'll fucking tell you." Like, just, you know, again, like everything in this film, everything is taken to that nth degree.
Yeah.
For your enjoyment. Like, Verhoeven just knows what we want, man. God bless
Yeah.
him for it.
Well-
He always knows. And then he says,
Well,
it was Omnicorp.
he knows what he wants, and what he wants just happens to also be what we all want.
Yeah.
Well, I
Because
love that.
Verhoeven's a man of the people.
I love that Clarence is working for the Omnicorp executive.
Because of course he is.
Because like the whole grift that like is presented to him is like, this is going to be a lot of urban development. With urban development and construction comes a lot of underworld. You know, gambling, prostitution, drugs. You can be in charge of that.
Well, and also he's being paid to stir up trouble and create the need for Omnicorp to come in and gentrify and control crime, you know? Like he's being paid to wreak havoc. And yeah, it's, and in like you said, for the long-term goal of like, yeah, you can run all the whole criminal underworld once we've got our fancy new city of the future too. It's like, yeah, of course the criminal on the street works for the criminal in the boardroom, just like real life.
Yeah.
And so, of course, Robocop gets his name. He goes to Omnicorp. The fourth rule kicks in, just as Ed 209 literally kicks in.
Yeah.
And we get, like, our very fun, like, hallway fight with Ed 209, where it ends on the stairs with Ed 209 defeated
Tumbling
by
and
stairs.
falling. And that scene is followed by another one of my favorite scenes where they order all of the cops to kill Robocop because, oh, he's gone rogue. And
He's still a cop!
And we
too
just
late.
get like, probably no exaggeration, like a 3-minute sequence of like 50 cops just unloading their automatic weapons into Robocop. Just like, again, just
So
like all
good.
the other scenes, just endless. It just keeps going and going. And he's like stumbling through this parking garage and he like tumbles over a railing onto like a lower level and they all run up and start shooting him down there. It's
You know what I really like?
it just goes on and on and on. It's so funny.
Robocop has that same Batman problem where his lower jaw is still exposed
Right.
amongst all of his like titanium alloy armor. And so it's like, oh well, you could just shoot him in the face, right? Like an explosion would still like burn his head off.
He does hold
But
his
he
arm
lifts
up
his
in
arm
front
up.
of
yeah,
in
he
front of
does
his lower
protect
jaw.
himself.
Yeah.
Like they do think that part through, and I like that a lot.
Well, later on, they do also show him taking his helmet off.
Yes.
And
Yes.
it's just like his face, like, essentially, like, pinned onto this robotic
and it
head.
looks
Skull, yeah.
so fucking good.
The makeup is still really good.
Yeah, it holds
to this
up super well.
And I love this because it's not just like a side note, and it's not just done for visual spectacle. Like Robocop has been shot to bits by all these police. It looks like they're gonna take him down when his partner shows up, throws him in the car, and they get out of there and they hide in an old steel mill. It's at that point when he's all covered in bullet wounds and bruises and everything else that she gives him a screw gun and he takes off the faceplate.
Yeah.
And it's at this moment where not only is his human face revealed, but that is the moment where he has essentially reclaimed his humanity.
Yeah.
So, like, the mask comes off. We see the Peter Weller beneath. He's disfigured. He's a Frankenstein. He's a horrible, like, death robot. But there's a man inside.
Yeah.
And we get that there. It's chef's kiss. Heavy-handed. I'm not saying it's genius, but I'm saying it's done perfectly.
She has to help him recalibrate his targeting system. Gotta
love
give
that.
that little human touch, help him get his aim
Well,
back.
it's great
know?
too because it's earlier on they set up that like he just eats like nutrient paste that looks like shit, and the guy tastes it. It's like, oh, it's like baby food. And she goes out to a convenience store and she brings him baby food in case he needs to eat. But I'm not hungry.
Yeah.
And so he takes the moment to like shoot the bottles, and the bottles are baby food. And again, not a single bit of fat wasted, right? Like, that could have just been bottles, that could have been cans from the steel mill, it could have been literally anything, but instead, it's something that has been set up. And again, he's been almost reduced to like an infant. You could put commentary on that if you want. Like,
he's reclaimed his humanity, so now he's beyond just the nutrient paste, right? That the machine needed to live.
Mm-hmm. He's not a baby anymore.
He's not a baby
he's a
anymore.
man.
Yeah. He once was a boy, and now he is a man.
I was that little boy, that little baby boy was me. I once was a boy, but now I am a man.
It's so good.
And
So then we can cut to the baddies.
yes, they show up, and they have been given just these massive
They're so cool.
sniper rifles that just shoot missiles, basically.
They're
just
50
like
caliber rifles. They've got the big like 50 caliber rifle thing on the end of the barrel. I don't know what it's fucking called.
the massive scope and everything.
Yeah, well, it's not a scope. It's like a rectangular computer. Like, they don't actually, like, you can't actually look down it, I don't think. It's just got, like, red, weird laser lights.
I mean,
and
I think
shit,
you
like,
can
coming
look.
off
It
of
looks like you can look down it. They just never do. They just always fire from the hip.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it just
it's
fires.
like a big computer rifle that fires, like, rockets that blow up cars.
Yeah, it's like, okay, this is what we need to stop Robocop.
Yeah.
And
But the way that they do it is, like, the laughing guy, he pulls up in his car and he's like, yo, look what Omnicorp gave me. It's the 6000 sucks. Like, I got my nice fucking car.
well, no, they didn't give it to him. He stole it because there's the police strike. That's when this all happens. All the police go on strike, so the criminals have the run of the city. And so he just, like, stole that. And, yeah, he shows
Well,
up.
they conveniently left it outside of the jail that he just got out of.
Yeah,
with
right.
The title and papers sitting in
Exactly,
the front
yeah.
window.
Everyone is rampaging. They're all rampaging. There's the guy, like, watching the I'd Buy That for $1 show, like, kind of, like, watching it in from outside in the door of the van, like, watching out of a shop window.
One of the more inscrutable details of the movie that I really love, the I'd Buy That for $1.
Well, it's like perfect parody of, like, bad sitcom television.
Yeah, exactly. But it's like every time we see it, it's like, what's going on? It's like some weird old dude is just like groping women going, I'd buy that for $1.
Like,
Benny Hill.
It
so funny.
feels like he's trying to capture, like, some weird future humor. I don't know, I watch Zoomer shit now, and it's like, it's basically the same thing.
Well, yeah, I love how absurd it is. That's what I'm saying. That's why I like it.
Yeah.
Because it is just like every time we see it, there's not any sort of like discernible plot to what's happening. It's just, I'd buy that for $1 over and over again, and it's great.
It is great.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's fucking rad. Right next to the guy, a bunch of looters are, like, destroying a store and, like, you know, like, breaking windows and stuff. So he's like, fuck it. And he breaks the windows just so we can turn up the volume on the TV.
So we can listen to
it.
it,
And he keeps
yeah.
hanging out there. And I love that. It's so, like, it's kind of badass. Like, he's like, you know, most of the time when people are looting, they're running into the store, they're running out, they're doing whatever they can. He's like, he just kind of breaks the window and turns up the volume and sits back down. It's cool. It's a nice bit of flavor. It's cute. And they all pull up and they meet up in their spot. And they show off the guns, and this guy's like, yo, I got the 6000 sucks, it's so cool. And Red is like, alright, well, that's dope, but check out my cool fucking gun. Hey, look at this neat target. And he uses the gun to blow up the dude's car that he just got, because he's such an asshole. Well,
yeah, and also
only he can have the cool car.
Yeah, because it's the same car that Kurtwood Smith has, so he can only one of them can have the cool sports car.
But in a fun ballsy move, he then gives that same dude a gun.
Yeah, well, I mean, he gives them all
Guns.
all guns.
And they have this amazing. It's a kind of a Lost Boys moment where they all just like, oh, new toy, and they're all like running around the block blowing up cars.
Everything, yeah.
And there's just like it's just stunt after stunt after stunt where they're just like one of them fires it into the shop that had just been looted, like completely like decimating the building. They're blowing up cars on the street. Like so many scenes in this movie are punctuated with like real explosions. The practicals are just endless in this film. Like it's on and on and on, and
No
it's
shortage of explosions.
and they're all perfectly framed and cool and just funny. God, man, it's just I don't know. You can put a cool explosion in your movie, but it's another thing to put like an explosion that's just so well punctuated by like this gangster being given a new toy and like his car
well,
was
yeah,
just
I mean,
blown
for
up
the
and all of
fucking
that.
for the
Like,
fucking climax, you decide to give all of your villains guns that just shoot explosions. The last like shootout in the fucking steel mill is great. With the fucking dude who drives the truck into the toxic waste and turns into a mutant man and then gets fucking splattered by Kurtwood Smith.
Oh,
It's
That
just
part's fucking
incredible.
great.
it's so wet.
Yeah.
Like-
And also just like, yeah, such a fucking awesome shot of just getting hit by this car and just like turning into liquid.
Yeah.
It's so
Well,
funny.
Like, again, any other movie, it would have had like a cool sequence just inside of the steel mill where there's a shootout between RoboCop and them. But like they've already upped the stakes by giving them these magical exploding rifles, right? They basically just point it at something and it explodes. Like that's already great.
Thankfully, they're all really bad shots.
Yeah, but like that's already super fun. You have a really fun environment, but like no, Paul Verhoeven gets even more creative with it, right? Like that's not enough. There's a bit where a guy's like driving his car and RoboCop like diverts the car, and the car for whatever reason drives into a giant toxic waste thing. Like how much fun can you have? You know,
Yeah.
like, this movie is just like there's endless shit. Like. And then
We've got the
later
part
on,
where Ray Wise drops
he's like operating a crane. They're just playing with fucking toys. Like,
shit on RoboCop, and then Nancy Allen grabs the gun and just shoots the cockpit of the crane with Ray Wise, and it
whole
just
thing
fucking explodes.
Oh,
Amazing.
like it's just like endless, like creative, wild kills in this movie.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Of course, like earlier on in the precinct, RoboCop like has this dope like data spike that he uses to like
Yes.
find out where his house was
The
located.
data spike is cool.
And how he was killed. Like that's one way he like accesses his old memories. And like right at the end there, he's the villain is like over the top of RoboCop, and it looks like he's gonna destroy him. And RoboCop activates his fucking data spike, and he drives it into his
Stabs
throat.
it into his neck.
Perfect.
Yeah.
It was
Amazing.
perfectly set up. Beautiful.
And then gotta finish it off by getting by stopping Omnicorp. Shows up in the boardroom, confronts Dick Jones, and is like, but you can't do anything against me because of your fourth directive. And he gets around that in like the cleverest way by making the CEO or whatever. He's like, Dick, you're fired. He's like all of a sudden no longer an employee, so RoboCop can shoot him
Well,
out
it's
the window.
while the main executive is being held at gunpoint by Dick Jones.
Yeah, because RoboCop plays the recording he has of him admitting to killing Miguel Ferrer. So is like, oh yeah, Dick Jones is a bad guy, so you're fired, Dick. And it's no longer an
He
employee.
is
So
literally
RoboCop
fired.
can literally fired. Shoots him out the window. You get the shot.
Classic 80s falling out of a building shot.
Where his arms are like obviously fake and like a weirdly like a little bit too long.
Wiggling
It's really funny. I can't tell what's going on with the arms there. He's got like Kermit the Frog like
I like to
noodle
think
arms.
that like RoboCop's gun is so powerful it liquefied his bones.
There you go. Yeah, why
Fuck it,
not?
why not, right? And
Yeah, fuck it. Why not?
He shoots him out the building. We get our classic iconic 80s shot of a guy falling out of a building. Our what's the bad guy in Die Hard? What's
Hans Gruber.
Yeah, he gets Hans Gruber. He gets thrown out of the building. It does not look as good as the Hans Gruber one,
No.
but whatever. Anyway, he
Die
goes
Hard
falling.
was also in the 90s.
Yes, that is fair. And RoboCop fucking saves the day. There is a great sequence when he's going into the building a little bit before, where another Ed 209 shows up that's guarding the premises.
Oh yeah,
and
now he has the explosion gun.
Yeah, so he just like explosion guns the fucking Ed 209 to bits, and it's great because Ed 209 like falls out of the shot, and Robocop is like, it's a low angle, and Robocop is like walking into the building when you see another leg come in to frame, and it's like, oh shit, there's another Ed 209. Does he have enough ammo? I don't know. And then the legs continue to walk into frame, and you see that it was the lower torso of that Ed 209, and like as the chicken legs kind of like
trips and falls over.
It falls over, and there's another really nice detail where one of the toes on it, like kind of like is like kind of glitching out. It's great. There's like so much texture and life in it, like so much attention to detail in this film. Like go from the baby jars to all of it, like everything. There's no fat, on it at all. Like it's just it's every little thing is accounted for. And, he saves the fucking day. He goes up there and, the guy gets fired out of the fucking window.
And then the movie ends immediately.
Yeah.
because what else needs to be said?
Yeah. It's a mic drop, right?
What else do we need to see?
It absolutely is.
Well, shall we do the formality of rating?
5.
Yeah. 5. Your move, creep.
One quick small note is I have seen the remake, and I didn't think it was that bad. It's got some problems. It does show his family, which he does interact with his family again as RoboCop, and I thought that was stupid. But there are some fun ideas. It opens with the testing, Omnicorp testing out their product in Afghanistan, and them destroying a small boy by mistake. There's some kind of fun commentary.
That's not even satire. That was happening before that movie fucking came out.
Yes, it's true. But it was kind of an alright.
I feel like they also made the mistake of making RoboCop look too cool in that movie.
It's a different film.
Yeah.
But I didn't hate it. I don't have any hate in my heart.
I won't be seeing it.
No, I'm not in a rush to see that.
No, I wouldn't be.
Because why bother when Paul Verhoeven's 1987 masterpiece and certified golden pod RoboCop exists? Certified. We have some predictions from last week's episode of Knock at the Cabin.
For Rotten Tomatoes score, I predicted 83. TC predicted 65. And Cleve, you predicted 50. Right now it's sitting at 67.
Yo!
Hey,
I was really close on that one.
Close.
I was going to say, as you were reading that, I was like, I still feel good about that.
Yeah. For opening weekend box office, I predicted 15 million. TC predicted 25 million. And Cleve, you predicted 18 million. It did 14.1 opening weekend. So
you said 15 million?
Mm-hmm.
Man, only one off. Wow.
Yeah, we were close.
Very close.
Yeah.
That too. Yeah, nice. Good prediction.
And then for collective rating, I predicted 3.2. A little optimistic there. TC predicted 2.5. And Cleve, you predicted 2.
So, shit. Oh, man. I thought I had it.
Are you sure we don't want to retroactively let Cleve up his
that's
rating?
okay. That's okay. Because, our collective was 2.2.
Yes.
So that went to
you. Yeah,
Just
to you.
barely.
Yeah.
So we each got one.
Hey, yeah, we did.
We each got one
Look
this
at
time.
us.
And we were all, in each of ours, we were very close.
So, we do have some taglines for this one.
Oh, yes. Please, enlighten us what our comments were.
Do say who did which.
Yes. Mine was, "Give me what I want, Hunter. Give me the apocalypse."
Kind of.
Nice Dave Bautista reference.
Yeah.
There we go.
TC said, "Fun premise, bad dialogue, stupid twist."
Nailed it. The twist wasn't a twist, which is stupid.
Yeah, I did. I did nail that.
And Cleve, you said dumb.
Nailed it.
Which,
also, yeah.
Yes, correct.
Also correct.
Nailed it in less words, frankly.
We all sort of captured the correct spirit of that film.
yeah.
Call me Nostradamus. I thought an M. Night Shyamalan movie was going to be dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, we had some additional comments here, predictions. I predicted that this will either be Cleve's favorite M. Night movie or the one that finally breaks him.
And it was neither.
It was nice neither.
Let's be real. Glass broke me. I've been broken.
Yeah.
You say that, and then there's going to be a worse M. Night movie.
We'll see. Whatever he puts out next
you're
year.
just dragging my corpse to the theater. Like, I'm the deadest of horses, and you just keep beating me.
Yeah.
Cleve,
I love y'all.
Cleve, you just said nah for your prediction for this one.
Yeah.
And
I just opted out.
You said Cleve will hate this the most out of the three of us, which was not true.
Not true, actually. Surprisingly, you gave it the lowest
Yeah.
rating. Actually, that is surprising.
Even since I've even bumped up my rating a little
Yeah.
bit. I have less hate. Just because I don't.
Movie fucking sucked.
No, it was all right. It was okay.
It sucked, but like I was thinking about it, and like outside of my opinions on M. Night Shyamalan, if I'm to separate myself from that, I don't know if I need to for a score, but if I was,
Yeah.
not that bad. It's okay.
I thought it was very okay. It was very okay. Anyway,
It's just, like a half a point of spite in there, so I'm willing to give that point back.
No need to-
I don't need to be spiteful. I don't need to be walking around with
no
that much
need
hate
to
in my heart.
relitigate. We just did this last week. What's looking forward? What's next week?
Yeah, so next week I want to open this question up to y'all. So technically, Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey is out next week. There are no showtimes for it yet in our area.
Fuck it. Let's
Do
the
we
other thing.
want to watch it, really? Or do we want to skip it?
I mean,
and
at some point I'm gonna
cover
watch
it
but
later on VOD.
We can cover it later. It's,
Is that something we feel like we need to see in theaters?
No.
I don't. Thank you. I'm
No,
glad.
okay.
I'm glad we feel that way. Honestly,
Yeah. Well, I'm in agreement there.
I am still some sliver of me is open to it being a good movie, but like odds aren't good. Like
We can absolutely watch it VOD and
Yeah.
talk about it later.
Yeah.
I think that's totally
So
fine.
in that case, it's my pick,
Ooh.
and
What you
we're
got?
going to do a weird underrated movie called Knock Knock. This is
At the Cabin?
No.
We just did that last week, Ben.
Knock Knock is an Eli Roth movie.
Okay.
Pod favorite director Eli Roth. It stars Keanu Reeves and Ana de Armas in his sort of horny take on funny games, essentially.
When did this come out? I don't know
never
this
heard of
movie
it.
at all.
2017.
Oh shit! It's recent.
It has terribly low ratings. I think it is sitting at like a 2 on Letterboxd.
What?
But I think it deserves much higher than that.
Okay.
And I'll explain why after we watch it.
Okay, interesting.
because
Yeah.
I think it's a hidden gem. And, it deserves maybe even, I'll say it now, maybe it deserves to be a cult classic midnight movie.
Okay.
Putting that out there.
All right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Tune in next week for not Knock at the Cabin, but Knock Knock.
At the Cabin.
Knock Knock at the Cabin.
Is that the sequel?
Sponsor time.
Sponsor time. Let's make it quick because
Yeah.
it's been a long one. That's the cool thing about Robocop. It's a dumb action movie, but like there's a lot to talk about. Like it's rich. It's a perfect fucking movie. All right. Here we go. Unfortunately, this is a long sponsor. The shelf is glowing. It's getting mad at me. It's a wonderful long sponsor. We love our long sponsors here. We love sponsors. This episode is brought to you by a kind of fucked up looking baby that you have to pretend is cute. Next time you see that baby, start pretending. Otherwise, the shelf will get angry. And you know it needs blood. And it
Baby
doesn't-
blood.
And it doesn't need excuses. So that's right. Once again, brought to you by kind of fucked up looking baby that you have to pretend. It's cute.
Whomst among us has not been one of those situations.
Thank you, humble listeners. Please do buy product.
Yeah, buy product
However you buy that product, I don't really know, but figure it out.
buy product by supporting us on Patreon at
There you go,
patreon.com
which is-
/podpeoplepod. That is, we are a product.
We are a byproduct of buying product,
Exactly. And
which is all very RoboCop.
if you buy a byproduct of you buying product is that you can suggest product.
Goodbye, product.
Goodbye,
Well,
product.
Cleve is a byproduct.
I am
Wow, look at that.
BI
go.
hyphen
Yeah.
product.
Full circle.
Well, shout out to our honorary pod boys, Sam Simon and Zach Confer. We thank them for their support as always. You can also follow us on Twitter at PodPeoplePod and at letterbox.com/PodPeoplePod, where you'll find a list of all the films we've talked about on the show with our average ratings and links to those reviews. I'm on Twitter at SomeSpookySnake and streaming on Twitch at SomeSpookySnake. Give me a subscribe.
Give him a subscribe.
Give me a subscribe.
Give that boy a subscribe.
I'm on Twitter at Mr. Sheets. You're a move, creep.
I don't know if I want to specify that Ben looked at me and said that.
Well, yeah, because it's your turn.
Your move, creep. Yeah, Dead or Alive, come with me on a wonderful journey across all the games at Dread XP. There's lots of great games there.
Nice little.
Go to
nice little
dreadxp.com or go to our Steam page with all of our Steam things that you can Steam and play. That's Steamy. Yeah, go check all of that stuff out. There's Red Tape, there's Outsiders, there's Creepshow, there's so many cool things that are going on right now. Excuse me, and you can enjoy and play all of them.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, but we have to go. Somewhere a crime is being committed.